What do you hold on to when the world feels too heavy, when your heart races with fear, and when your mind will not stop running in circles? In those moments of silence, when no one else can truly hear the weight of your struggles, there is a power that has carried generations before you, a power that still stands strong today. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it is called the Holy Rosary. This is not just a string of beads. It is not just words repeated again and again. It is a lifeline, a weapon, a shield for your soul when nothing else seems to protect you. Think about the times when you felt completely overwhelmed. You tried to calm yourself, but your thoughts kept spiraling. You searched for answers, but nothing made sense. In those moments, what your heart needed was not more noise, not more chaos, but rhythm. The Rosary gives you that rhythm. Each bead in your hand slows your breathing. Each prayer whispered steadies your heart. Science itself tells us that repetition reshapes the mind, that calm routines restore balance to the body. But the Rosary is not ordinary repetition. It is sacred repetition. It carries meaning that goes deeper than the surface. It does not just quiet your nerves, it awakens your spirit. When you hold the Rosary, you hold a weapon against despair. For centuries, it has been carried in times of war, in times of illness, in moments when hope seemed gone. And again, it has proven its strength. The reason is simple. The Rosary is connection. It connects your brokenness to something eternal. It connects your confusion to a peace that surpasses human understanding. It takes you out of the storm and reminds you that you are not alone in the fight. You may wonder why this matters to you, why this should hold your attention now. The truth is, you are living in a world where anxiety is rising, where pressure steals your joy, where every day feels heavier than the last. And if you do not find a source of strength, greater than yourself, the weight will eventually break you. The Rosary offers that strength. It is not escape. It is empowerment. It does not pull you out of life. It prepares you to face life. And that is why it is called a best power, not because it is easy, not because it is quick, but because it transforms you from the inside out. Stay with this message, because as you listen, you will discover how the Rosary rewires your spirit, how it turns fear into faith, and how it gives you the courage to keep walking even when the road feels impossible. This is not just prayer. This is power, and the moment you embrace it, everything begins to change. The Rosary is more than a comfort, it is discipline, and discipline is what builds the strongest souls. Every bead is a reminder that consistency creates transformation. Think about your own life. How many times have you started something with passion only to stop when it became difficult? How often have you promised yourself change but fallen back into old habits because your mind was not trained for endurance? This is where the Rosary shows its hidden strength. It teaches you rhythm. It teaches you commitment. When you return to it daily, even for just a few minutes, you are forming the very habit of faith. And when faith becomes a habit, fear loses its power over you. The repetition is not emptiness, it is training. Athletes strengthen muscles by repeating the same moves again and again. The Rosary strengthens your spirit by repeating sacred words until they become the natural language of your heart. And just as practice prepares an athlete to perform under pressure, the Rosary prepares you to face the unexpected storms of life with calm. Instead of reacting with panic, your soul responds with peace. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you rise with strength. This is the hidden genius of the Rosary. It rewires you from the inside out. Do not mistake its simplicity for weakness. The most powerful disciplines in life are always simple, repeated acts. You do not need complexity to build strength. You need consistency. And the Rosary gives you exactly that. It becomes a pattern your mind can lean on, a rhythm your heart can rest in, a structure that carries you when everything else feels unstable. Each time you hold it, you remind yourself that you are not drifting without purpose. You are anchored, centered, focused. This discipline does not only change your prayers, it changes your entire identity. Each repetition teaches your brain that you are someone who endures, someone who stays, someone who finishes what they begin. And once that belief takes root, it flows into every area of your life. Suddenly, you find yourself standing taller, you speak with more confidence, you face challenges with calm determination. What began as a simple prayer ritual becomes the very foundation of your courage. The Rosary is not about escaping reality. It is about reshaping your reality. It does not take you away from the demands of life. It equips you to face them with strength. Every word you whisper into those beads is a declaration: I will not be broken. I will not be defeated. I will rise with faith as my shield. And the more you repeat it, the more it becomes who you are. That is why those who truly commit to the Rosary find themselves unshakable, because discipline builds power, and this discipline builds the best power you could ever hold. The Rosary is not only a discipline, it is a mirror that reflects your deepest struggles and highest hopes. Each mystery you pray is not distant history, but a living reality that speaks to your own journey. When you move through the joyful mysteries, you are reminded that light still exists, even when shadows feel overwhelming. They whisper that blessings are still possible, that joy is not gone, that life still holds meaning beyond your current pain. When you face the sorrowful mysteries, you encounter suffering with a new understanding. They show you that pain is not a punishment, but a path, that wounds can be carried with dignity, that endurance shapes strength more than comfort ever could. And when you rise into the glorious mysteries, you are reminded that resurrection is not a tale of the past, but a promise for your present, that every ending you fear holds the seed of a new beginning. This is why the Rosary holds such profound power. It transforms your suffering into purpose. It reshapes your wounds into wisdom. It lifts your eyes from despair and turns them toward hope. The human mind needs meaning to survive the storms of life. Without meaning, pain feels unbearable and the heart begins to collapse under its weight. But with meaning, pain becomes bearable. The Rosary provides that meaning, that framework that helps you carry what otherwise feels impossible. Each prayer whispers that nothing you face is wasted, that no tear falls without value, that your battles are not random, but part of a greater journey. When you hold the Rosary in your hands, you are not just speaking words, you are rewriting the story you tell yourself about your life. You are declaring that you are not abandoned, that you are not forgotten, that you are part of something eternal. And that belief changes everything. It removes the poison of hopelessness. It silences the voice that tells you you're powerless. It gives you a reason to rise even when you feel too weak to stand. This reflection is not meant to take you out of reality, but to open your eyes to its deeper layers. Every struggle you face mirrors the mysteries you meditate on, and through them, you find guidance. You begin to see that the weight on your shoulders is not meaningless. It is shaping you, refining you, preparing you for something greater. The Rosary teaches you that life's darkest nights still carry the promise of dawn. And the more you allow these mysteries to enter your heart, the more unshakable you become. This is the transformation Rosary brings. It turns pain into purpose, despair into hope, weakness into strength. And once you embrace that truth, you discover that nothing in your life is wasted, because everything can be lifted into meaning through the power of prayer. Discipline is the foundation of strength, and the Rosary is discipline in its purest form. Every bead you touch, every word you repeat is a step in training your soul to stand firm when everything around you is falling apart. Life will test you. Pressure will press against you. Doubt will whisper that you cannot go on. But when you have trained your spirit through daily practice, those challenges do not break you. They reveal the strength you have built in silence. The Rosary is not meant to be a one-time refuge. It is a daily exercise that transforms weakness into resilience, chaos into clarity, fear into faith. Think of how habits shape every part of your life. Small actions repeated each day become the foundation of your identity. The Rosary works the same way. Each prayer strengthens your resolve. Each repetition builds endurance. Over time, it reshapes the way you think, the way you respond, the way you see yourself. Where you once reacted with panic, you begin to respond with calm. Where you once gave up too quickly, you find the will to keep going. What began as a simple act of devotion becomes the blueprint of a stronger, braver life. The beauty of this practice lies in its simplicity. Great strength does not come from complicated rituals or dramatic gestures. It comes from consistency, from showing up daily, from choosing again and again to align your heart with peace instead of fear. The Rosary teaches you that true power is built quietly, bead by bead, prayer by prayer. This is why it has endured through centuries, because it works. Not by changing life outside of you, but by transforming the life inside of you. When you commit to this rhythm, your mind begins to follow a new pattern. Repetition is no. Emptiness, it is renewal. It trains your brain to default to trust rather than worry, to hope rather than despair. Every prayer becomes a rehearsal of strength until it is no longer something you try to find. It becomes who you are. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to walk into each day with courage instead of hesitation. You begin to live with faith woven into your very identity. The Rosary is proof that power is not found in grand displays, but in daily commitment. It is the discipline that shapes destiny, the practice that builds inner fortresses, the rhythm that prepares you for life's greatest storms. And when you stay faithful to it, you will find that no trial can shake you, no fear can bind you, no darkness can keep you from rising. This is the quiet strength that endures. This is the hidden training that turns ordinary souls into unbreakable warriors of faith. The fiercest battles are never the ones fought with weapons you can see. They are the battles inside your own mind, the constant war against fear, doubt, guilt, and despair. These invisible enemies are relentless. They whisper lies into your thoughts. They drain your energy. They make you question your worth. And when you are unprepared, they can overwhelm you more quickly than any hardship life throws your way. But the Rosary is the weapon that cuts through this darkness. It does not only touch your lips, it reaches your mind, reshaping the way you think, strengthening your heart against the lies that seek to destroy you. Every bead you hold is a defense against anxiety. Every prayer you repeat shields you from hopelessness. It is not superstition. It is not empty ritual. It is training the deepest part of you to remember that you are not powerless, that you are not alone, that you are never without strength. Studies show how meditation reduces stress and sharpens focus, but the Rosary goes further. It lifts your meditation into the realm of faith, where you are no longer drawing strength only from yourself, but from something greater. That shift changes everything. You stop feeling like a fragile vessel tossed around by storms, and you begin to stand as a fortress no storm can crush. The war inside you does not end overnight. Doubts will return. Fear will try again. But the Rosary gives you armor for every battle. With it, despair cannot root itself deeply. With it, fear loses its grip more quickly. With it, guilt is washed in forgiveness, and you remember that you can rise again. The rhythm of the Rosary is more than words. It is the steady heartbeat of faith echoing inside you, reminding you that even when the world rages outside, your soul can remain unshaken. When you rise from this prayer, you rise different. You walk out calmer, even if nothing in your life has changed. You walk out stronger, even if the challenges remain the same. You walk out carrying a power that cannot be taken from you. This is why the Rosary is more than a comfort. It is armor, shield, and sword for the invisible, wars that seek to steal your peace. The truth is, no one can avoid struggle. No one can escape fear. But with the Rosary in your hands and in your heart, you do not have to collapse under them. You are equipped, you are defended, you are ready. And this readiness is what gives you freedom. Because when the inner battles no longer defeat you, nothing outside of you has the power to break you. This is the strength that endures. This is the quiet power that carries you through every storm. There will be moments when silence feels unbearable, when every prayer seems to vanish into emptiness, and when holding the Rosary feels like lifting the weight of a mountain. In those moments, it is easy to believe that nothing is changing, that your words are meaningless, that your efforts are wasted. But the Rosary is not built on feelings. It is built on faith. Feelings rise and fall like the tide, unpredictable and unstable. Faith remains even when the sea is rough. This is the strength of the Rosary. It anchors you when your emotions cannot. You do not need to feel strong to be strong. You do not need to feel inspired to show up. Power is not found in waiting for the right emotion. It is found in choosing consistency when emotions betray you. Every time you pick up the Rosary despite your weakness, you are building something greater than temporary comfort. You are building endurance. You are proving to yourself that your faith is deeper than mood, stronger than doubt, and greater than despair. That act alone reshapes your character, making you unshakable in a world that breaks easily. Even when the words feel dry, even when your heart feels numb, the Rosary still works. It works because it is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Every prayer you whisper, no matter how weary, becomes a seed planted in your soul. And seeds do not grow overnight. They grow in silence, beneath the surface, hidden from sight until suddenly they break through with life. Your rosary is planting strength you cannot yet see, preparing victories you do not yet know, shaping peace that will surprise you when you need it most. This is why you must never put it down when life feels heavy. That is when it matters most. Faith without feeling is the purest form of faith because it is no longer dependent on reward. It is dependent only on trust. And trust is what transforms weakness into power. The rosary is trust in motion, faith embodied in action, love expressed through repetition. Even in your darkest night, its beads remind you that light still exists, that hope still breathes, that heaven is not far but near. The discipline of returning to the rosary is what builds a faithful life. Not perfect prayer, not flawless devotion, but faithful prayer. And faithful prayer leads to faithful living. It shapes you into someone who can withstand storms, someone who does not collapse under weight, someone who walks with strength. Even when trembling inside, the rosary is not a measure of your feelings, it is a measure of your courage. And every time you hold it, every time you refuse to quit, you are declaring that your faith will not bow to fear, that your heart will not surrender to despair, and that your soul is stronger than the shadows that try to silence it. The rosary is not only a shield for your own soul, it is a gift you extend to others. Each prayer you whisper carries power beyond yourself. It is not confined to your heart alone, but reaches into the lives of those you hold in intention. When you lift someone's name within those beads, you are carrying their burden for a moment. You are placing them in a space of peace that they may not have been able to create for themselves. This act of intercession is more than kindness, it is strength multiplied. It turns your prayer into a force that heals not only you, but those around you. Every time you pray for someone else, you break the chains of selfishness that often trap the human heart. You expand your capacity to love. You strengthen your ability to empathize. And in that expansion, you yourself are transformed. You realize that life is not meant to be lived in isolation, but in connection. The rosary becomes a bridge, linking your spirit with the spirits of others, connecting your hope to their struggles, joining your courage with their pain. Through this bridge, strength flows in both directions. As you lift others, you find yourself lifted too. This is why the rosary carries such hidden power. It creates ripples far greater than you can see. A single prayer whispered in your solitude may be the reason someone feels comfort in their darkest night. A decade prayed for peace may be the unseen shield protecting a loved one in danger. These are not empty gestures. They are invisible weapons of life-fighting battles that words alone cannot reach. And in this, you discover the deeper meaning of your prayer. It is not only for survival, but for transformation. Not only for yourself, but for the healing of the world. When you step into this kind of prayer, your perspective shifts. Your heart begins to stretch beyond its old limits. You stop asking only for relief from your own pain and start carrying the burdens of others with love. That shift changes you. It softens bitterness, it melts resentment, it replaces isolation with purpose. And suddenly, your life is no longer small, no longer limited to your own struggles, but enlarged by the compassion flowing through you. The rosary is power because it is never just about you. It is a current of grace moving outward, touching lives in ways you may never see. And the more faithfully you enter into it, the more the world around you begins to change. This is how peace spreads. This is how courage awakens in others. This is how light rises in the midst of darkness. And it all begins with the choice to lift those beads, to whisper those prayers, to carry both your own soul and the souls of others towards strength, healing, and unshakable hope. The greatest strength of prayer is not in the words themselves, but in the surrender they carry. When you let go of control and place your heart into something higher, you release the chains that have weighed you down for so long. The rosary teaches you this surrender. It shows you that strength is not built by clinging to fear, but by loosening your grip and allowing peace to flow through you. Every repetition quiets the noise inside your mind, silences the doubts that scream, and builds a fortress of calm in the middle of the storm. That calm is not weakness, it is unshakable power. With each bead you touch, you learn that consistency matters more than intensity. True transformation is not in one loud cry, but in steady, faithful devotion. The Rosary shapes you not in a single moment, but in the rhythm of repetition, in the discipline of returning again and again to the same prayers. This consta. NCY rewires your spirit, making strength second nature. The very act of showing up, of refusing to let go of that chain of prayer, turns your weakness into endurance. And endurance is where the soul discovers its hidden fire. This hidden fire is what gives you the courage to face the world without fear. When others collapse under the weight of their battles, you will stand taller, not because life is easier for you, but because you have been forged in prayer. You have been trained to draw strength from stillness, to find clarity in silence, to uncover resilience in surrender. The Rosary is not just beads in your hands, it is a weapon in your heart. It teaches you to confront the shadows, not with anger, but with unyielding light. Every prayer is a declaration that you refuse to be broken. Every whisper is a reminder that your spirit cannot be crushed. And the more you embrace this practice, the more you realize that nothing external has the power to dictate your peace. Circumstances may shift, people may fail you, but the strength built in prayer is untouchable. It belongs to you and cannot be taken away. That strength is the kind that carries you through loss, through betrayal, through uncertainty, and through pain. The Rosary is your training ground for resilience. It teaches you that victory is not about avoiding difficulty, but about facing it with unshakable calm. It teaches you that hope is not naive, but a weapon against despair. It teaches you that even in the darkest moment, light can still be chosen and peace can still be claimed. And as you walk with that truth, you begin to embody the very thing you prayed for. Strength that does not falter, peace that does not end, and courage that does not bow. Strength is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the decision to rise despite it. Every time you feel the weight of fear pressing down on you, the Rosary becomes a reminder that you are never powerless. Each prayer pulls you back into alignment, grounding you in the truth that your worth is not determined by circumstances. The world may try to strip you of your confidence, but prayer roots you in something unshakable. The more you lean into it, the more you discover that peace is not fragile. It is forged in the fire of persistence, in the quiet discipline of faith, in the unbreakable rhythm of devotion. You are not meant to live in fragments of strength that fade when life gets hard. You are meant to carry a foundation that cannot be shaken no matter what comes against you. That foundation is built bead by bead, prayer by prayer, silence by silence. With every repetition, you are rewiring the way your mind responds to fear. You are teaching your soul to stand steady when everything else trembles. The Rosary is not an escape from life's battles. It is the preparation for them. It trains you to face them with calm, with clarity, with resilience that refuses to collapse under pressure. Every word spoken in prayer is an anchor. It holds you steady when emotions pull you in every direction. It holds you steady when doubts whisper that you are not enough. It holds you steady when exhaustion tries to convince you to give up. That anchor reminds you that storms are temporary, but the spirit built in prayer is eternal. The more you choose to hold on, the stronger that anchor becomes. And with strength anchored deep within, nothing outside of you can dictate how you live, how you think, or how you rise. There will be moments where your faith is tested, moments where silence feels empty, where prayers feel unanswered. But even then, the Rosary is shaping you. It is not only about receiving what you ask for, it is about becoming who you were meant to be. Every repetition chisels away fear. Every whisper dismantles doubt. Every bead strengthens the muscle of trust. You are being refined, transformed, and equipped in ways you may not yet see. The strength you build in silence is preparing you for battles you have not yet faced, victories you have not yet imagined, and breakthroughs you have not yet stepped into. This is the power you carry within you when you refuse to let go. This is the strength that cannot be bought, borrowed, or stolen. It is the kind of strength that carries you through the darkest valleys and lifts you to the highest peaks. It is the kind of strength that makes you unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. The true test of your strength is not when life feels easy, but when the weight of uncertainty presses against your chest and demands that you either collapse or rise. It is in those moments that the quiet discipline you have built reveals its power. Every silent repetition, every intentional pause, every choice to ground yourself when chaos surrounds you becomes the evidence that you are not defined by fear. You are defined by the courage to hold steady when everything around you tries to shake you loose. That courage is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It grows in the silence, it sharpens in the stillness, and it expands in the hidden places where no one else can see. Strength that is visible to the world is often fleeting, but strength cultivated in the unseen moments is permanent. It cannot be taken away because it was not built on applause or recognition. It was built on persistence. It was built on refusing to let fear dictate your decisions. It was built on trust that rises higher than doubt. This is the kind of strength that turns wounds into wisdom, pressure into power, and silence into clarity. The world may push against you, but when you are rooted this deeply, you do not bend. You rise taller, you rise stronger, you rise certain of who you are and what you are capable of. Every time you quiet your mind and anchor yourself, you are reclaiming authority over your life. You are refusing to be enslaved by the chaos around you. You are breaking the chains of fear, insecurity, and doubt that once dictated your path. Mind learns quickly. And when you train it to remain calm, it responds to fear, not with panic, but with power. This is why the strength you are building cannot be measured by anyone else. It is measured by the battles you no longer allow to defeat you, by the emotions you no longer let control you, and by the quiet confidence that now carries you forward. You are not here to survive passively. You are here to live fully, boldly, and unapologetically. And that requires a foundation that will not crumble no matter how heavy the storms become. That foundation is being carved within you now. Every moment of silence, every whisper of courage, every refusal to give in is laying the groundwork for a life that cannot be broken. This is not about waiting for peace to arrive. It is about creating it within yourself so that no circumstance has the power to steal it from you. You are stronger than you have ever believed. You are steadier than the fear that tries to shake you. And you are more capable than the doubts that whisper otherwise. This strength is already alive within you, and now is the time to unleash it fully.